It's a busy Tuesday on Locked On Lions. Team getting ready for Dallas this week. Let's dive in.
You are Locked On Lions, your daily Detroit Lions podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hope everybody's having a good Tuesday. We are locked in on October 18th and a Wednesday, October 19th. Matt Dery with you. It's Locked On Lions on the Locked On Podcast Network. Indeed, your team every day. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day right here on this very podcast. Marcus Mosier on Thursday from the Locked On Cowboys podcast. We'll do the crossover. Eric Schlitt, our buddy from prideofdetroit.com, will join me tomorrow as the Lions get back on the practice field tomorrow and get ready to try to win a football game in Dallas against the Cowboys. We'll dive into some of that today. Also, we got to get into power rankings for the week. Some draft talk. Yes, mock drafts are out and the Lions are picking third. Woohoo! Matt Miller from ESPN has the Lions taking a quarterback. We'll talk about that. Second round jinx is alive and well. As we mentioned yesterday, Levi Onwuzurike is out for the year. I took a deep dive. In fact, our Crack research staff took a deep dive. It's even worse than I thought. I got to touch on that. Much more to do on this very show today. Locked On Lions. We are proudly brought to you by our friends at Birddogs, the most comfortable shorts, pants, and sweatpants with built-in liners. Go to birddogs.com, use promo code LOCKEDON, and boom, a free Birddogs rope hat with your pair of Bird Dogs. And I got my Bird Dog pants the other day, my khakis, and I'm very happy about that. All right, house cleaning or housekeeping moment here in regards to the sign. So follow us on Twitter, Dery Speaks, Locked On Lions on Twitter, Matt Dery Facebook fan page, and also on YouTube, Locked On Lions YouTube channel. Hello to those of you watching. Hello. Seinfeld is next on Fox 2. If you see the sign 222 Rodwood Drive, as you know, for many years on this podcast, I used to coin the phrase 222 Keenest Drive instead of 222 Republic Drive in Allen Park in honor of Bill Keenest, longtime media relations maven, friend of the pod. Now that Bill is no longer there, he was the team historian. He's no longer with the organization. I have renamed it 222 Rod Wood Drive in honor of the man in charge, Mr. Football himself, Rod Wood. With that being said, Turner Batdorf, if you're new to the show, is one of our listeners. Turner hooked me up and sent me this sign to put behind me here on the show. So that is what 222 Rod Wood Drive means, and that's why the sign is up. Thank you to Turner, one of our listeners. Many of you were asking about it on the YouTube comment section last night. All right, so the Lions are playing the Cowboys Sunday, 1 o'clock, noon Central. Jim Nantz and Tony Romo on the call coming up on Sunday on CBS. The number one crew against Cowboys and Lions. I think it's because the slate is weak, and also Fox has the doubleheader and the 425 game. So that is the crew for Sunday. As far as where the Lions sit right now, let's dive into something quickly, and that is the power rankings from our friends at ESPN.com as Week 7 now is done. No surprise at the top of the power rankings for this week. Buffalo number 1, Philly number 2 at 6-0, Kansas City at 3, Vikings at 5-1. Top 4 team in the league, and the Giants at 5-1. Cowboys come in 6th at 4-2. Your Detroit Lions, who were 30th last week, have now been jumped in the rankings by the Houston Texans, who sit at 1-3-1. The Lions were 30th last week. They're now 31st this week at 1-4. Only team worse, the Carolina Panthers, who sit at 1-5. So the Lions are rated the second worst team in the NFL. As Eric Woodyard writes at ESPN.com about the Lions' number 31 ranking, the Lions are still very much in the rebuilding stage, despite early thoughts that they improved. A 1-4 start is a reminder that this squad still has some key pieces, notably on defense, to fill before becoming a legitimate contender. Some experts projected the Lions to have a much better record at this point, but the defense has already allowed 170 points through the first 5 games, which are the most in franchise history. I have no argument with putting the Lions as the second worst team right now and 30th in the league. I think Houston is bad. They're ahead of the Lions. I think the Bears are bad, but they're 2-4. They're ahead of the Lions. Washington stinks, but they just won their second game. They are at 28th. They moved up a few spots, and the Raiders are bad too at 1-4. They've lost a lot of close games, including last week's, Monday Nighter to Denver. By the way, anybody that watched the Broncos last night, they are just painful to watch. Oh my gosh. The Chargers had no business winning that game last night. We think Dan Campbell maybe struggles a little bit in game management, clock management, kicking management, fourth down management, schmanagement, all right, with Dan Campbell. He's a second-year coach. Nathaniel Hackett is a rookie head coach for the Broncos. He's terrible coaching a team. The Chargers didn't have a single first down in overtime on like 3 or 4 possessions. But the Broncos muffed a punt. The Chargers did all they could to move it a little bit closer. And their kicker on one leg, Dustin Hopkins, kicked the game-winning field goal. I mean, the Broncos have a $285 million quarterback and a really decent defense. And that Nathaniel Hackett is clueless. So if anybody wants to argue that the Lions are higher than 31st, I'd love to hear it. I'm not buying it. This is where the Lions sit right now. They are the second worst team in the league. They are. And their record is what it is, and their ranking is what it is. It's hard to argue. But now that they've had a week of rest, a bye week, an opportunity to get some players back, whether it's Amon-Ra St. Brown, who says his ankle's still a little bit sore, but he's gonna tough it out, DeAndre Swift, whomever. This team has to show some improvement these next few weeks. And I understand. Going to Dallas is not going to be easy. That's a top 6 team, according to the ESPN.com rankings. Miami in 2 weeks likely will have Tua back. He might play this week. Green Bay's not going to be an easy out 3 weeks from now. The schedule was pretty forgiving early when the Lions played Seattle at home, and the Seahawks, I know they're 3-3, but they're beatable. The Lions had no business going into New England and looking as bad as they did against the Patriots. And yes, I understand. Bill went into Cleveland this week with his team and smothered the Browns. But still, you were playing a third-string quarterback making his first ever start, and you got shut out 29-0. You had the Vikings on the ropes. Couldn't put them away. We've been through this. This team has to show some improvement. And they're the only team without a road win this year and last year. What would be, it's not like they're a 13 or 14-point underdog this week in Dallas. They're a 7-point dog. Go in there and win. Improve the defense. Get healthy. Maybe even have to outscore them. Dak Prescott's coming back. He's going to be rusty. Go win. I'm not going to make a prediction and tell you, oh, yeah, they're a lock. But go win. But 31 is exactly where they deserve to be. I don't think there's any question about that. When you really, look at it and dissect it, it's kind of where they belong in this early season of what we're doing here. And it's pathetic. And I hate it. I hate it with a passion. Because I want to talk about a winning team and have some fun. All right. Second round jinx. I got to get into that. It's worse than I ever thought and I could imagine. But I got to tell you about Birddogs. I'm telling you, they just launched sweatpants. These pants, they sent me these khaki pants. They already have like liners in them. So you don't even need to wear underwear if you don't want. They're super comfortable, like that cute little Charmin bear rubbing up against your thighs. You know that comfy little bear family, right? Birddog pants are perfect for fall golf. For those of you that are ready this weekend to play this weekend when it's supposedly going to be 70, Might not play like Tiger Woods on a bender, but you'll feel just as good. Bird Dog joggers are higher quality than Lululemon and $20 less. What are we talking about here? Go buy some Bird Dogs. What about shorts? Still wear shorts in the winter? Doesn't matter if it's Florida or 10 degrees in New England or Chicago or here in the D. They have their signature shorts with built-in liners, the most comfortable shorts in existence. Trust me on this. They sent me these khakis. I love them. Go to birddogs.com, enter promo code LOCKEDON, and they'll throw in a free Bird Dogs rope hat. That's Birddogs, BIRDDOGS.com. Promo code LOCKEDON, and boom, a free rope hat with your pair of Bird Dogs. The most comfortable shorts, pants, and sweatpants with built-in liners. You will not take these things off. I promise you. And hey, we got to tell you about our friends at LinkedIn as well, and LinkedIn Jobs. Yes, I'm changing the screen as we speak, doing two things at once. You're looking to post a job online, you want to hire some people, the best place to go and the best place to do it is at LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps find the right people for your team faster and for free. You got to check it out. You want to be 100% certain that you got the right candidate? Go to LinkedIn Jobs. Add your job and purple hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you are hiring. Simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedon. That's linkedin.com/lockedonnfl. I'm sorry, linkedin.com/lockedonnfl to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. All right, so here's the deal, folks. Levi Onwuzurike's out for the year. DeAndre Swift is always hurt. The Lions, whether it's the current regime or the past regime, have really, really struggled with finding second-round picks. And my friends at our crack research staff, they heard me. They heard me yesterday talking about it. I got to go right to the phone and to my notes. Since 1988, the Lions have had 37 total players drafted in the second round in 35 drafts. Since 1988, 4 Pro Bowlers. Chris Spielman, 1988. Jason Hansen, 1992. Sean Big Baby Rogers, 2001. And Darius Big Play Slay, 2013. Bear in mind, okay, the last 2 Pro Bowlers from the second round, Rogers and Slay, were both traded by the regimes that drafted them. Matt Millen traded Rogers after the 2007 season, and then Millen was fired. Quinn Trisha traded Slay to Philadelphia in March of 2020. Then they were fired. All right? These names are unbelievable. Like, I've named these before. I've told you Pascal, hurt. Onwuzurike, it's done nothing. DeAndre Swift, always hurt. Talented kid. Jelani Tavai, Kerryon Johnson, Tease Tabor, Ashawn Robinson, Amir Abdullah, Kyle Van Noy, Ryan Broyles, Titus Young, Mikhail LaShore, Louis Delmas, otherwise also known by Matt Shepard as Louis Delmas, Jordan Dizon, Drew Stanton, Akaika Alama Francis, Gerald Alexander in 2007, Daniel Bullocks, Sean Cody, Teddy Lehman, Boss Bailey, Kalimba Edwards. Do I need to keep going? Dom Raiola in 2001. Not bad. Not a bad pick. Kevin Abrams, Juan Roque. I'm throwing my hands up, folks. It's a jinx of 20, 30 years. I mean, I really want to see Josh Pascal at some point this year. You're hoping he'll come back from the hernia surgery and play a role on that defensive line. But I'm not holding my breath. mean, I was just mentioning guys, Peanut Abrams from like the early 90s or mid 90s. Oh my gosh, it's horrible. Could you even imagine? What is it about this organization and second round picks? And trust me, I lauded many of those picks. I loved Mikhail LaShore. I loved Kerryon Johnson. There were some selections made in these drafts that I liked at the time. I really did. Darius Slay was tremendous. But then, of course, it didn't work out here. And Darius Slay has been subsequently traded. He has gone to Philadelphia, and he's been amazing. But it was how he was broomed out of town. It was how this whole thing went. But now, if you're Bradley Holmes heading into year 3 next year, maybe you should just forfeit the second-round pick. Maybe you should take the second-round picks, trade out of it, and get more third-round picks. Or package them and move up into the first round. Because it's just a jinx. Man, it's brutal. It's worse than I thought. So I had to get that off my chest. It's worse than I thought. All right, Lions and Cowboys coming up on Sunday. Jared Goff will be under center for Detroit, and he's played pretty well for the most part. Didn't play well in New England, but he's been the quarterback. Could the Lions actually draft a quarterback this coming year? Matt Miller, ESPN NFL draft analyst, thinks they will if they stay where they are and struggling, and will be drafting third in this upcoming draft. We'll tell you about that coming up next. PrizePicks, though, one of our great subscribers. We love them. Daily fantasy that is so much fun. And it's, last night you could have said, look, I'm going to take Justin Herbert to throw for less than 300 yards. You would have been good. I'm going to take Russell Wilson to throw for less than 200 yards. You would have been good. So much fun to pick players and just go up against their PrizePicks projections. 2 to 5 players you can pick. Each game, whatever it is, and if they score more or less than their PrizePicks projection, you can win up to 10 times your money on any entry. What's great about PrizePicks as well, they got it for NBA. Tonight you can do it for the opening of the NBA season. MLB, NHL, PGA Golf, college football, men's and women's college basketball. It's all there at prizepicks.com. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It is that easy. Just download the PrizePicks app or go to prizepicks.com. Sign up and play daily fantasy sports. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with promo code LOCKEDON. If you deposit $100, PrizePicks will give you $100. If you deposit $50, PrizePicks will give you $50. Don't forget to enter promo code LOCKEDON at sign up for an instant deposit match up to $100 from our friends at PrizePicks. All right, I hate talking about the draft in October, but the Lions are 1-4, and I'm doing it anyway. Matt Miller from ESPN, NFL draft analyst, was on Twitter today and did a quick mock draft with Carolina at number 1 taking Bryce Young, the Raiders at number 2 taking Will Anderson, the high-quality defender, and rush end, linebacker, hybrid, whatever you want to call him, at number 2. So 2 Bama picks back-to-back. The Lions at number 3 from Matt Miller on Twitter at NFL Draft Scout would be drafting today Will Levis, the quarterback from Kentucky. And I told you months ago that I like Will Levis. I haven't watched him this year, but I need to do that. Miller writes, quote, Jared Goff has done an admirable job, but it's time for Detroit to invest in a long-term quarterback to build around. Levis has his fans around the NFL based on tools, with some comparing him to Josh Allen. My comp is more Matthew Stafford. So that is who Matt Miller has. The Lions taking, he has only 10 picks, so he doesn't have the Rams pick, but he has the Lions taking Will Levis. He then has Houston taking C.J. Stroud, and the Eagles, who are going to be picking 5th from New Orleans, taking Jalen Carter, the defensive lineman. The Lions need defense, folks. And I do think that eventually the Lions are going to take a quarterback. I think this draft is extremely deep at quarterback. But if I'm at number 3, you got to take wouldn't you take the best defensive player on the board, no matter position, and take your quarterback like Richardson from Florida or somebody else later on, especially if the Rams season continues to spiral downward and the Lions are getting that pick at 16, 17, 18, 20, something like that? I'm a big Will Levis fan, but I don't think Brad Holmes and this staff are going to take a quarterback that high. But again, there's so much season left to be played. Hopefully the Lions make a little bit of a run here and get better, and they're not picking at 3. That would be disaster if they had a top 5 pick again. But this team needs playmakers on defense. Maybe they'll love Levis. I don't know. I still think they like Goff a lot. We still have, 12 more games to go. But I wanted to throw that out there today, that was thrown out and guessed by Matt Miller from ESPN. All right, tomorrow, Eric Schlitz going to join us from Pride of Detroit. We'll talk about this Lions-Cowboys game with him, and also on Thursday with Marcus Mosher on the Locked On Crossover, brought to you by PrizePicks. He's the host of the Locked On Cowboys podcast. That'll do it for me on this Tuesday edition. We are back again tomorrow.